Yes, everybody, welcome to another edition of Transfer Talk. We are looking at a potential goalkeeping crisis for Manchester United at the moment, with rumours circulating that United do want to try and cash in on David De Gea, who might not be willing to sign his contract and run his contract down. United might try and look to offload him and get some sort of a figure in for him as we look to either bring through some of our own or go out across Europe and try and find a new goalkeeper. Difficult ask. Finding a goalkeeper's very difficult task, something that we've struggled with in the past to do. We recruited David De Gea very well. I was watching him for a long time before we decided to go with him. He's currently in the worst form of his footballing life, much more so than when he first joined. I don't think he was making the frequency of mistakes, certainly in back-to-back games, that he was making at the moment. He's arguably cost United a place in the top four, which I know sounds extremely harsh, but it might be. The last three games where United have failed to pick up a win, a lot of those have been down to David De Gea. Now, we've also only scored one goal from open play in those games, so the finger's not squarely pointed at him, but he has been a contributing factor in several of those games. He's made as many errors in the last 4 matches as he's made in the previous 120. Now, the issue with his contract, I think, is a major part in what's going on with Dave. The uncertainty of not just what's happening with himself, but what's happening with his friendship group. If you look at the players that are rumoured to be leaving United in the summer, you are looking at the Spanish clique, which, weirdly, Romero is a part of as an Italian. So you've got Romero, not Romero, sorry, Damian is a part of being Italian. You've got Romero, and obviously a lot of the Spanish-speaking players from, like, Eric Bay obviously speaks Spanish after playing in La Liga. He's a part of that little friendship group. Obviously Juan Mata, obviously Ander Herrera. Those are players that are being rumoured to leave. If David De Gea really values the friendship of those guys, then those guys being people that are rumoured to be getting sold might be having a massive impact on his decision whether to stay at United or not. We've all worked in places where you've had a friend leave and it's become shit, and maybe that's something that's playing into the mind of Dave a little bit. Maybe that's bringing its way onto the pitch. Maybe that's not an issue at all, or maybe it's a pure confidence thing. Maybe the distribution issue, which has come to light. He doesn't trust his own distribution. The systems have changed around him so much. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, we were quite direct, but you had players like Michael Carrick and Rio Ferdinand that you could pass to and know that they'll get themselves out of trouble and work their way up the pitch. He also managed to find the flanks with quite a lot of regularity and quite a lot of ease during the time when we had better footballers around. When I look at the team there now, and there was at times during the derby last week when I'm looking at Chris Smalling receiving the ball off him, Ashley Young receiving the ball off him, and I'm thinking, no wonder he's panicking with who he's passing it to, and he's hesitant, and I think that's bled into how he saves in games and how he tends his goal in games. And I think that because that part has been effective and this part has now become effective, I think his confidence is absolutely crushed. And this is the conundrum that you're in now, is, does dropping a guy actually improve his confidence? Probably not. Does dropping a guy who's in the middle, supposedly, of a contract negotiation help you get the guy to sign a contract? Probably not. Do you let him play out the last 2 games? Well, there's still the tiniest flicker of hope that we can somehow get top 4 despite being so bad, despite not picking up a win because of how bad everybody else is. Does he just want to move to Madrid? Has he had his head turned? Has he already agreed a contract with somebody else on the sly? All of those things could be playing into what's going on with David De Gea at the moment. It could also be a consequence of just how poor United have been in recent weeks, have finally exposed the goalkeeper to a certain extent. It's a team game. The goalkeeper, unfortunately, is hero or villain and never anything in between. And I think sometimes he's carried us so high and so far in recent years that it's just the average coming out now. We're just seeing David De Gea's average really start to show. Not saying he's average, I'm saying the average performance of him. That he should have made a shitload of errors in the last 120 games, but they've all come at once. It doesn't feel like that, though. It feels different. I think the different systems under Mourinho, where we went quite direct. He brought in big players like Matic, and he used Fellaini, and he tried to use Lukaku like he was Drogba. He would go direct, and maybe that hides a little bit. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he wants to play out from the back, but unlike Louis van Gaal, who had Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin and players that would come short to collect the ball, he's trying to play it out with Smalling. There's no Daley Blind there to collect it. Is this a consequence of what we're seeing? Is that why we saw Eric Bailly tried at the weekend? There's someone who's a little bit more comfortable in possession than Chris Smalling. There's so much going on with him. If we were to cash in on him, where would he go? Do Real Madrid want a new goalkeeper? We are rumoured with Jan Oblak. Could we see him go back to Atletico? If he doesn't go to either of those teams, where does he go? The Spanish press don't really like him. I certainly don't think he would end up going to Barcelona. Arguably wouldn't be needed at Barcelona. Could he go to Paris? There's only a handful of teams in the world that could even think about affording David De Gea. So, if we have to cash on him because he won't sign a new contract, I think that's probably the right thing to do from an economical standpoint. To cash in and try and get something back, because if you wait another year, his head's in somewhere else, his transfer fee diminishing all the way down to zero, which means you're in a £120 million deficit as you look to try and find a new goalkeeper. Maybe the time is right to get something back before you go and start the hunt. There's probably only a couple of contenders, as was mentioned. Dean Henderson is one. Dean Henderson probably looking to leave United this summer because he wants first-team football guaranteed. He's probably not going to get that at Manchester United, I don't think. But would he be a worthy contender to replace David De Gea? Team of the season in League One. Team of the season in the Championship. Sheffield United Player of the Year. Under-20 World Cup winner. 21 clean sheets in 45 games. The credentials are there. Under-20 World Cup winner, yeah. Just the credentials are there for him. We also have another young goalkeeper who I haven't actually seen anything of this year, Joel Pereira. 9 games he played for Vitória over in Portugal. He's only played 2 games for Kortrijk in Belgium. I have no idea how he's doing, but he was highly touted before going out on loan this season. Could Joel Pereira or Henderson replace David De Gea? Let me know in the comments what you think. The only other major one that we've been linked to is Jan Oblak. Now, there's a case to be made that if David De Gea wasn't the best goalkeeper in the world, then Oblak is. His release clause is around about £100 million, 120 million euros. He only signed an extension to that contract last month, and for such a small increase, I wonder if he was still keeping an eye on maybe having a move on somewhere. Weird that we've allowed someone to increase their release clause in the last 2-3 weeks when we probably could have gone and had a chat with that guy, or we could have had a tap up of his agent and been like, well, look, Dave's moving on. I was about it. That would be sensible, wouldn't it? Now, Jan Oblak made his debut at 16, and he didn't make his debut at 16 because he'd forced his way in, which is what you would assume of someone that's so elite. He actually only made his debut because the first-team coach was trying to punish the main goalkeeper. He didn't think it'd be permanent, but 3 games later, it made the position his. He is technically the hardest goalkeeper in Europe to beat, and he once actually went 12 months with only conceding 1 goal on his way up. He's an old-school goalkeeper. He's vocal. He's great with his hands. He's excellent shot stopping, a good command of his area. But again, not amazing with his feet. Is this an issue? Is this something, if with Ollie wanting to go down the route of playing out from the back, do we need a goalkeeper more in the mould of Ederson or Alisson? Do we need a goalkeeper that's that comfortable in possession? Do we need a sweeper goalkeeper that's going to be comfortable and come out and play with their feet? Jan Oblak is not that goalkeeper. Is Pickford that goalkeeper? Is Lafont that goalkeeper? Or Donnarumma that goalkeeper? I'm not sure any of them really fit that bill to the same level as Ederson or Alisson. Good goalkeepers are out there. I would also throw Farman into the mix as well. Probably gettable. I think Jan Oblak's probably not gettable for United. I don't know what we're going to do with Dave. I think it's a massive damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you drop him, which would probably be right, I don't think he signs his extension. He'd probably go, where's the support? I've carried this team for 4 or 5 years, which he has. Where's the support when I've been shit? But goalkeepers are treated a little bit differently. When they're making mistakes, they cost you games rather than not quite winning you games like a striker would. And there's only one goalkeeper on a pitch. If you don't sign him up, can you afford to let him play and run his contract down? We was in a hole with who we had to replace. We needed 5 or 6 players, even if we didn't lose De Gea, Pogba, Herrera, and whatever you think of him, Lukaku. Sometimes it's better the devil you know. Trying to replace him with someone who you don't quite know, you might end up with even worse than you've got. We needed 5 or 6 players before we lost any of those. I think if we lose any of these, the summer required from us is just impossible, and I don't have the confidence in the board to go and deliver what we're trying to deliver. I think it'll be too much. I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know in the comments. Jan Oblak, is he a viable option to replace David De Gea? Do we need to replace David De Gea if he's not willing to sign a contract? Do you think he'll sign his contract? Would you put Dean Henderson in the mix? Joel Pereira, Pickford, Lafont, Donnarumma, any of these guys? Let me know in the comments. Actually go and check out the video that I did yesterday with Alex Stepney, United's 1968 European Cup winning goalkeeper. He's got some interesting thoughts on all of the above. Go and check it out. See you in the next one.